Can you hear me and
Yes, sir.
see me? Okay. Anyway, any questions anybody has? Welcome back after a very long time, 1 week. So lecture number 4 for machine learning. Nobody has any questions? Okay. How many of you submitted? Did not? Any reason why many of you did not submit the assignment?
Sir, I submitted 10 seconds late.
That's all right, but some of you, some 3 4 people submitted yesterday, uh, but there are still like 4 5 people who have not submitted at all. Anyway. So let us cover a little bit more about the gradient descent algorithm that we were talking about in the previous class. So one thing that I forgot to mention was how do we stop our uh, code from running? Okay, at what point do we stop running? Okay, because as I mentioned this in the previous class that we would never means we will never reach the solution. The exact solution we will never reach. We'll reach close enough to the solution, but we'll never reach the exact solution by gradient descent. So how do we stop? Anybody who has done the assignment wants to answer? How would we stop? How did you stop?
Sir, I stopped the algorithm when either it reaches 1000 steps or loops, or either it becomes less than 0.0001.
What
So
becomes
these,
less than 0.00001?
sir, the error function, the derivative of error function.
Okay, the derivative of the error function becomes small.
Yes, sir.
Okay, that is one way of doing it, but that's not really very good. Anybody else?
So I stop it after 10,000 iteration.
Not good either. How do we decide 10,000? It depends on your learning rate. If your learning rate is small enough, then 10,000 is nothing. Anybody else?
Sir, I plotted a graph of error function with versus number of iteration.
Okay.
And after some, and I compared that when the at which alpha at which learning rate my error function is decreasing with number of iterations. So I took that learning rate.
No, that is all right. But how do you stop once you decide your learning rate? At what point do you stop running your algorithm, your code further? What is your stopping criteria for your code?
सर मैंने number of iteration 1000 ली 10,000 लिए थे.
Again, not a good idea.
Because after that वो उसका decreasing rate काफी slow हो गया था. जो मेरा graph था error function with respect versus number of iteration उसका graph का slope बिल्कुल zero आ चुका था. तो अगर number of iteration अगर मैं exceed करता तो भी ज़्यादा further changes नहीं होते उसमें. So मैंने वहीं end
No,
कर
but
दिया.
that's why I'm saying. So 10,000 is not a good number. Means you have to have somebody had a different condition. They said that either I choose the maximum number of iterations or I have if I reach a certain condition. His condition was that the derivative of the error function becomes small enough. Okay, and I'm saying that his is almost correct but not fully correct.
Sir, I kept
the count of mean square error, and when it got less than 10 to the power minus 4, then I
Okay, again, it's similar to what he did. So what we usually do means here we have mean squared error, but usually what we do is that, for example, uh, when you are doing your calculations, your difference. So uh, what were you? Yeah. So you had W0 some k, okay, some kth iteration, okay, and W0 k plus 1 iteration, okay. The difference between these two quantities, okay, difference between these two should become very small. Again, very small is so I was just saying that your number iteration number is arbitrary. Yeah, your what I'm doing here is also arbitrary. So I'm not really that different, but this is the standard practice that we usually use. Okay, we see the difference between these two calculations. Okay, W0 at the kth iteration and W0 k plus 1 iteration, and we take a difference between these two. Okay, so let me do this minus and mod of that. Okay, if I do that, and this should be smaller than whatever your epsilon is, whatever small value of error that you are willing to permit. Okay, is that all right?
Sir, but we are
If it,
minimizing, sir, but we are minimizing the error, right? So we should put that condition on the error instead of omega naught or omega 1, whatever. We are minimizing the mean square error, right?
yeah,
So we should write that condition on the error itself rather than W0 or W1.
yeah, you can do that as well. Yeah,
Yes, so we
that
can check when the difference between the error is going to be less than epsilon.
less than.
Whatever quantity we took, like difference
Yeah,
between,
yeah,
we are
that's.
checking.
Yeah, that's what he is saying. Means there are many ways of doing it. Again, this is one way of doing it. What he is saying is that instead of doing this, you could at the kth iteration you find out what your error is at kth iteration or k plus 1 iteration, and subtract the error at the kth iteration and see whether it is less than epsilon prime. Okay, that is another possibility. Okay, that is usually what we do. Okay, we. Hmm.
So I did the same thing in
But
the
but but
assignment, and
in this case, so the reason I say that this is still better than this. Can anybody tell me why this might still be better than using this? Anybody? Why this taking a difference between the two parameters at different iterations, okay, at consecutive iterations might be better than doing this, because we'll have a second parameter also. Okay, so we'll compare not only this, but we'll also have uh, another one, which is W1 k plus 1 minus W1 k, okay, should be less than epsilon double prime. Okay, why do I say that using these two might be better than using this? Anyone?
I think using the error one will be better
Huh?
than using the error
So
function
you
will be
no
better.
okay, you are saying that my premise is completely wrong. That's all right. Can you say why?
Because in a way we want to minimize the error, so we can check that at what
No, but
instance the.
what is our end goal? Our end goal is not minimizing the error in one sense. Our end goal is to for this particular algorithm is to find out the correct value of W0 and W1, so that your error is minimized, obviously.
yeah, exactly. So that the error is minimized. So basically, our end goal is to minimize the error, right?
No. The end goal is to find out W0 and W1. That is
W0 and W1
the,
so that
the,
the error
the
is
no, no,
minimized.
no, 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 please understand that. What is the end goal for using this machine learning, your linear regression? What is the end goal? Is to find out W0 and W1, isn't it?
Yeah, but to find out like
Yeah,
we
you.
Find out W0 and W1 at error function at which the error function is minimum.
Yeah,
Ultimately,
It
we
is the
are
same thing, na?
minimizing the
We are
error function.
yeah, it is the same thing. But
so
I'm
it is
saying
same.
that this, I think, in my opinion, this is better. Minimize means using these two conditions rather than this single condition is better. Why do I say that?
Why, sir?
No, I'm going to answer that, but I want somebody to help me.
So if our error is minimized, our both the weights will automatically will be reaching its optimum value. So
Not necessarily. That is the point. Thank you. You just so there is a possibility that W0 has a different what effect on error. Okay, maybe the effect of W0 is very small on the error. Okay, but we still want the optimum value of W0, do we not?
Sir, I think you are talking in for the case when the error function is not convex, like if there are multiple minima. In that case, error will be minimum, but our W0 and W1 might not be optimal.
Okay, let me show a graph. Okay, so this is W0 as well as W1. Okay, I am plotting on this particular, I'll use a different color. Okay, let me say W1 is being drawn in orange. Okay, and this is my error function E. Now let us say that W1 error function with respect to W1 looks something like this. Okay, this is with respect to W1. Okay, minima occurs somewhere around here. Now using the same scale, okay, it is on the same scale. Now I'm drawing for W0. Okay, and W0 looks something of this kind. Okay, does everybody understand these two graphs or no? And this is where the minima of W0 lies. Do you understand this or no? Again, please understand that I'm trying to draw a 3D plot on 2D thing. So think of it as if this is a plot when W0, sorry, W. So in this case, W1 is constant. Okay, and in this case, W0 is constant. Okay, I'm just trying to show you something. So what happens in this case? Let us say I'm trying to apply my gradient descent algorithm. Okay, I'm trying to apply my gradient descent algorithm using this particular condition. Okay, and I'm saying the slope, you can look at the slope of W1 is not sorry, W0 is not that high. Okay, and the values are also not that high as compared to the values of the error function with respect to W1. Okay, both of them are not really that high. So what is going to happen in this case? क्या होगा?
one value is minimized.
हम मिनिमाइज करेंगे. चलो मिनिमाइज करना हमने शुरू किया, ये दोनों बार बार अप्लाई किया. ओके, वी अप्लाइड फॉर corresponding to W1 and I apply corresponding to W0 and I keep on doing my gradient descent and I reach this particular condition at some point. Okay, what is going to happen in this case? क्या होगा?
W0 और W1 में भी उसके ऑप्टिमम पे नहीं हो सकते.
क्या?
W0 और W1 में भी उनके ऑप्टिमम पे नहीं हो सकते हैं, मतलब
Yeah,
We
that is the
cannot say
point. That is the
surely.
point. So please understand that W, most likely you'll get the minima of W0. Okay, because W0, the slope is also very high and the values are also very high in both. So there is a very good likelihood that you will, sorry, W1, ये W1 का plot है और ये W0 का plot है. So you will most likely reach the minima of W1 when you are trying to apply this condition. But there is a very strong likelihood that you will not reach the optimum value of W0. Okay, so therefore you want to apply this condition on both these, so that the difference between the two values that you are calculating because of the gradient descent, both these get optimized. Now does everybody get it, or do you want to contradict still? Anybody wants to challenge? Come on. No? Is everybody clear?
Sir, I have one doubt.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sir, this error function with respect to derivative of error function with respect to W naught, the graph of this function is a straight line, right? And the graph of with respect to W1 is a curve.
No, both of them are curved, yeah. This is also curved. I can't draw, means that is the point. Both of them are curved. You can think of both of them are parabolic. The only thing is that the curvature of this parabola is very large, and the curvature of this parabola is small, or the opposite, whatever you want to call it, the radius, whatever you want. So what is the point? Anyway, yeah, go ahead.
Sir, so like this W1 value is getting smaller and smaller with larger steps initially.
Okay.
Because it has more curve. So
Yeah.
and so ultimately the net value of error function would also get minimized. Like W1 is also one of the factor in error function.
Yeah, I'm saying
So-
W1 will not have a problem in reaching the means if you are using this particular formulation for determining your criteria for convergence. So this is the convergence criteria. Okay, this is called as the convergence criterion. Okay, yeah, go ahead. So I'm saying that you will reach the minima of W1 most likely using this particular formulation. But what I'm saying is that most likely you'll not reach the minima of W0 because you'll reach the maximum number of iterations or whatever you have determined. Or you will most likely reach this condition before you reach the minima of W0. Do you understand?
Okay, sir, I understand.
Okay. So therefore, checking for both these is important. Okay, so if you want, you can check all three conditions. That is not a problem. The checking this is not really wrong. You can check this along with these two. It's not really wrong. Okay.
So yes, sir,
But-
and we can also, if
But
we,
this will be and, not or. Okay, so you'll check for this and this and this. Okay, not or. If you do or, then it is really bad. Yeah, go ahead. Who Dipankar?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, sir, I was saying that if we choose the right value of epsilon, then we can do it with any of them, I think. Like it depend. You were saying right that if, like it will hit that condition first before the iterations, and so if we choose a lower value for epsilon, then
Yeah,
it
yeah,
will
that is.
yeah.
Yeah,
But I understand that,
but getting that value is very difficult, no? Because you have to know the final sort of. Yeah, you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. So it's better to calculate
It's-
on those two conditions.
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand.
Okay. Okay. So that is the criteria for convergence that I forgot to cover in the last class. If anybody has a question about this, anybody has a question from the assignment? If you did not understand, I know many of you did it incorrect. I just looked at it in a cursory manner, but I think I don't think many of you have applied the basic principles of as I asked. Anyway.
So what did we do wrong? So can you explain? what?
No, I don't know. Means maybe you did it correctly. I just looked at a couple of them.
No.
I'll give you a feedback after I grade all the copies. I don't remember your specific. I don't think I even opened your answer sheet. Anyway, so let us talk about a little bit of a philosophical issue. We had something like this. This was kilometer per liter, and this was your engine power. Okay, and we had found out a linear regression line which looks something like this. Now, so we have y is equal to w1x plus w0. So this is what the linear regression line looked like. Okay, so this is my linear regression. Or let me call this as fx. Okay, so this is how it looked like. Now, what is my true relation between y and x in this case? What is the true relation? Do you think this represents the relation truly? Even if let us say that this is exactly as much as you can. So in reality, what do you have? You will have w1x, okay, plus w0 plus some error epsilon. Okay, this is called as irreducible error. Okay, why is this error irreducible? Can anybody tell me? Do you see that there is an error that is present in the model that we just described here? So the true relation will be this model plus an irreducible error. Can you tell me the origins of this irreducible error? Where might this error come from?
So noise in the system.
Huh?
So noise in the system.
Noise in the system. Okay, let us write that down. So origin of irreducible, or let me call this as error. Okay, maybe it is reducible in some manner. Okay, let us call this as error. Okay. Okay, so let us remove this irreducible term from here. Okay, here's some noise in the system. What do you mean by noise? For this particular example, kilometer per liter versus power, what could be the noise? Medha?
So no idea how engine will generate. Well, there are many factors engine will generate a noise, but I don't know specifically how, what equipment or what component inside will produce that noise.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay, let us leave that for now. I'm not asking about this. I'm asking any other things that might introduce error in this model that we have chosen. Dipankar, are you saying something? I couldn't hear. Aman, any idea?
No, sir.
So are you asking with respect to this particular example that
Yeah. This particular example.
like there can be many things like temperature at which we are functioning, or like there can be uncountable things. Velocity at which we are moving or something like that.
Okay, so we could reduce that into uh, unmeasured or unmeasurable what do we call features or predictors. Features or predictors. Okay, have I mentioned these terms, predictors and features, or no?
No, sir.
So these are also fancy terms for input variables. Okay, so there is a possibility. So here I have just chosen a single feature. What is a single feature here? Power. Okay, and this is your output, k kilometer per liter. So this is your input variable and this is the output variable. So in this case I have chosen a single feature. Okay, but there is obviously a possibility that other features or predictors are playing a role in predicting the kilometers per liter. Okay, can anybody guess what might one of those features be other than the power of the engine?
Sir, the terrain at which we are moving,
What?
like where we are moving, like kilometers per liter depend on the terrain on which we are driving.
No, but we are doing a standard NHAI testing. Okay, whatever. Okay, whatever these companies quote, the way they a fixed speed in a simulator, you can think of it that way.
All right.
Okay, so that is not an issue, assuming that all of them are tested at. But there is one another possibility. You're right. So that goes into the noise that Medha mentioned. Okay, there is a possibility that the way these kilometers per liter were measured, okay, that might be a little bit different. Okay, so that is where noise comes into the fold. Yeah. Anybody else?
So one parameter could be the weight of the vehicle.
The weight of the vehicle. Very good. So let us write those down. Weight of vehicle. What else?
Air
Kind-
resistance.
Huh?
Air resistance.
Air resistance. That will depend on what?
Friction inside the machine,
Inside
inside the engine.
yeah,
Friction.
air. So you are saying so.
Sir, I think he's trying to say the aerodynamics of the vehicle. Like how is it moving?
So Bipul said friction. You are saying aerodynamics. Who was the other guy who said before about the air?
Sir Yashwardhan Era.
Yeah, Yashwardhan. Okay. So before we go to the friction, Bipul, hold on a minute. You can come back to me. Yashwardhan and Dipanshu both were saying something about the aerodynamics. Okay. So air friction will depend on the shape of the vehicle. Okay, how aerodynamic your vehicle is. Okay, so which is obviously going to play a very important role in your KMPL. Okay, because what is going to happen? For the same speed of the same sized vehicle, if one is more aerodynamic than the other, what happens in that case? Even if the weights are the same, what is going to happen?
The one which has better aerodynamic properties would give better KMPL.
Yeah, because it is working less hard. Okay, at higher speeds, most of the problems come from air. Okay, so yeah, the drag caused by the air causes the most problems. So those are another issue. So but anyway, so we can have. So here we have written only 2, but there is a possibility that you have millions of other predictors. Yeah, what were Bipul? You were saying friction in the engine.
Yes, sir.
So I don't know.
Pistons कैसे move मतलब if they are work
Yeah, that is a
RPM of piston.
yeah. So both of them can be put together. You can say the efficiency of the engine.
Quality of
Okay.
the tires.
Yeah. Quality of the tires. Okay,
The
good.
driver. It may be
The quality of the driver. Quality of the driver, I think, is already included in the. It is a simulated program. Okay, so the quality of driver is the same for all of them.
And also what kind of fuel we are using, like is it petrol or diesel?
Yeah. So here I am assuming that all of them are petrol. Okay, so the fuel is the same. And I had also said that the type of engine is also the same. So the only thing that matters is how well that particular type, that particular engine has been built. Okay, so that might make an issue, have an issue. Okay, so so that is good enough. Anybody else? What might be the cause of error? Anything else that you might think might cause an error here? Let me write one down. So that sort of goes into the noise thing, but let me write down specifically, other than that, that the least count of your equipment, least count or accuracy of your measuring equipment. Is going to play an important role in what error you get. Okay. What else? Capacity of the model. Okay. What is the capacity of a model? Anybody knows? Asha, do you know what capacity is?
So engine power.
No. Capacity of a machine learning model. The reason I'm asking you is because you have probably taken a course, so I just don't know.
Actually, sir, if we are modeling with a stochastic model, then because of polynomial approximation, we are neglecting the higher terms, so that can be play an important role in approximation with epsilon.
Yeah, good. So capacity of a model in this particular case, what is the, so this model has a certain capacity. Okay, here we are assuming that our model is a linear model. Okay, with varying parameters, you can change your parameters. So this model has a certain capacity. Now, if I were to say that I have another model, let us call that model as gx. Okay, and it has w2 x squared plus w1 x plus w0. What do you think the capacity of this particular model gx is? Do you think that is higher than or lower than the model fx?
Higher. So higher than the.
Yeah, higher than, because anything that can be modeled by fx can also be modeled by gx and much more than that. Okay, so that determines the capacity of your. So when we are talking about polynomial functions, okay, so we are talking about polynomial models. So for polynomial models, the higher the rank, or what is it rank? What is it called? The degree of the polynomial. Degree of the polynomial. Okay, higher the degree of the polynomial, higher is the capacity of your particular model. Okay, so there is a possibility that this linear model is not high capacity enough to capture the essence of the variation that is happening between the two input and output values. Okay, so that is another issue that might cause the error. Okay, and the reason I removed irreducible was because of this specific reason. Okay, because the capacity of model is sort of in your hands, so it is not really irreducible. Okay, so almost everything else is, so here there are many things that we measured. Okay, but there is a possibility that there are many features that you don't even know about. Okay, that might cause an issue in your kilometers, your mileage with respect to means how the mileage gets changed. Okay, we might not even know about many different predictors. Okay, so therefore those factors become cause an irreducible error. Okay, least count of your instrument, irreducible error. Noise in the system, almost always is irreducible error. So the only error that is sort of reducible in this particular case is that you can increase the capacity of your model. Okay, or decrease. Maybe some cases decreasing might help. Okay, to reduce the error. Any questions? Anybody? What here? Okay. So so let us define variance of epsilon, okay, as let us say we somehow have some idea, some magically we can find out this value, okay, and let us call that as sigma square, okay. Now the standard error is nothing but you can think of it as similar to standard deviation but for random variables, okay. So standard error for W0. I was thinking about doing the derivations and all those things, but I figured out that in the last class that I'm not really very good at those things. So let us leave the hardcore statistics to statisticians. For this iteration of the course, I'll try to minimize the statistics use, and we'll just use the formulas. Okay. So the standard error squared for W0 is given by sigma squared into 1 over n plus x bar squared over sigma I is equal to 1 to n xi minus x bar squared. Okay. Yeah, I forgot to mention, somebody asked me in the previous class, this is the book that we are using, okay, Introduction to Statistical Learning. There are, so let me write that down. Okay, and Gareth James. There are 3 more authors other than Gareth James. So we'll be using this book and many other books throughout the course of this semester. But I think this will be our baseline book for this particular course. So if you want to buy it, you can buy it. It's available cheaply on Amazon right now. If you don't want to buy it, it is officially available freely on the website of the author. Okay, freely it is available, the PDF. So if you want, you can download that as well. Okay. The assignments in this particular book are written in the language called R. R is a language used by statisticians. Okay. I was also tempted to use this R, but I decided not to do that because many of you would be put off by that, and I think that is not without reason, because your goal is not to become a statistician in your life. So that's why I chose not to use R but Python. But anyway, so any questions anybody has about this? If and then when we use more books, I'll give the names of those books. But if anybody wants to buy, I obviously recommend you buy the hard copy. It's not really that expensive right now. On Amazon, it is like 700 or 800 rupees. So obviously, the concentration while reading from a hard copy book is much better than reading from the screen. So I would recommend you buy the hard copy book. But if you don't want to buy it, the PDF is available online freely. Okay. So the standard error for W0 is given by this, and the standard error for W1 is sigma squared over I is equal to 1 to n xi minus x bar squared. So everything is quite self-explanatory in both these formulas, but the thing that is might be of an issue with couple of you might be, what is x bar? X bar is just the mean of all the values of x. Okay, Medha, are you saying something?
Sir.
Huh?
No sir, वो कुछ गलती से.
Okay, no problem. Why are we calculating these standard errors? Okay, so what is as I previously mentioned in the previous class, that whenever we are trying to calculate, okay, a value of w0, okay, and w1, okay, using these using this particular situation, okay, if I give you a different data set, what do you expect? क्या होगा अगर मैं कोई दूसरा डेटा सेट दे दूं तुम्हें? अभी मेरे पास ये डेटा सेट था, मैं कोई दूसरा डेटा सेट दे दूं, तो what do you expect is going to happen? Will you get the same w0, w1, or will they be different?
Different.
Yes, you said something. I couldn't hear.
Different.
It will be different. Quite expected that it will be different. But the question is how different? Okay. The question is how different?
Depend on data.
Depends on data. But can you make a prediction about that? How different will it be? That is where standard error comes into the picture. Okay, as I mentioned in the previous class, that we can say with 95% confidence. Okay, we can say with, even if my data set was different, even if my data set were different, we can say with 95% confidence that my w0 will lie between this whatever w0 plus minus what
2.5 of
2.5 standard
error.
Okay, similarly we can say with 95% confidence that w1 will lie between plus minus 2.5 standard error. For this is for w0 and this is for w1. Okay, so that is where standard error comes into the picture. Okay, now let us say I want to test whether a straight line was not really required. Let us say that I want to test whether that is true or not. Okay, whether my initial hypothesis, what was my initial hypothesis? What was the first hypothesis I made for fitting this particular data? Anybody remembers that? Anybody remembers that? इसको फिट डेटा को फिट करने के लिए जो पहली क्लास में मैंने क्या किया था, सबसे पहली लाइन कौन सी बनाई थी मैंने? That is the hypothesis. Okay, here my hypothesis that it's a straight line. Okay, obviously with varying slope, but what was my first hypothesis? Dipanshu, you were saying something?
Straight line with y equal to 0.
Okay, with y is equal to 0.
In parallel to x-axis. पहला तो वही था.
Straight line with w1 equal to 0. Isn't it?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
My first hypothesis was that this w1 is equal to 0. Okay, I want to test whether this hypothesis is my new. So I want to. So my hypothesis here is
I
that.
have a doubt.
Yeah, go ahead.
In this you have made w1 equals to 0. Will it our output will be different if we make w0 also 0?
If we make
अगर line y equals to 0 ले लेते हैं initially hypothesis, तो क्या outcome different आता?
मतलब वो obviously बहुत गलत होता, अभी भी गलत है लेकिन वो बहुत ज़्यादा गलत होता अगर w1 w0 को भी 0 ले लेते हम. If we took this x-axis as the line.
सर मैंने जो असाइनमेंट था उसमें मैंने दोनों को ही 0 लिया था इनिशियली और वो ऑलमोस्ट सेम आया था.
क्या आया था?
डिफरेंट मतलब जो लाइन थी y equals to mx plus c.
तुम्हें समझ में नहीं आ रहा है बात यार. इस केस में W1 की वैल्यू तुम चेंज कर ही नहीं सकते हो. That is just the initial guess. That is not your hypothesis. In that case, the hypothesis still, what you have done is that hypothesis is this. Okay, with any value of W1 and W0.
हाँ,
What
तो
you are
initially,
saying.
yes sir, initially अगर मैं कोई भी वैल्यू ले सकता हूँ W1 W0.
Yeah, it does not
तो
matter. In that case, we are trying to solve using gradient descent, so it will reach
Okay.
as long as the function is convex, you will
okay,
reach
okay,
there.
sir. Okay,
The
sir,
hypothesis is not changing in that case. Your hypothesis
okay.
is fixed at a straight line with varying W1 and W0.
Yes sir, yes sir.
Okay. In this case, we are changing the hypothesis. We are fixing W1 at 0. We will no longer take derivative with respect to W1 now. We will take derivative only with respect to W0.
Okay sir.
Okay. W1 is out of the picture now. It is 0. Okay. So your fx now, your new fx is now equal to W0. That's all. Okay. So you're going to solve your problem based on this.
Yes sir. Okay. Sir.
Okay. So let us define our null hypothesis. My null hypothesis is that W1 is equal to 0. Okay, that is my null hypothesis. And my alternate hypothesis, what is my alternate hypothesis going to be? ये null hypothesis है, मतलब sort of the base condition. Okay, I'm trying to do something. So what will be the alternate of this? इसका alternate क्या होगा? What is my alternate hypothesis going to be?
Not W1 not
Anybody?
equal to.
W1 not equal to 0. Okay. Now I want to prove my null hypothesis. I want to validate my null hypothesis. How do I do that? I would say that if whatever W1 I calculate, if it is close enough to 0, what do I say? If W1 is close enough to 0, what do I say? What can I say? अगर मेरा मैंने after doing all this calculation, let us say using this whole thing, मैंने जो भी calculations करी थी, उसके बाद मेरा W1 जो है 0 के पास आ जाए तो मैं क्या कह सकता हूँ? कि my what?
Null hypothesis is valid.
My null hypothesis is valid. Okay, if this comes out to be 0, I can say that my null hypothesis is valid, isn't it? But again, the question is, I'm saying W1 is approximately equal to 0. How do I define approximately? Dipanshu, any idea? How do I define approximately? How close to 0 is close enough to 0? Anybody?
Depends
By
on the
using error.
system.
Sridhar says error. Good. Standard error, you'll use the standard error. How? How will you use that? So like we do, so we can sort of convert this into, instead of the absolute values, we convert this value into a relative value, and we define a new value called as the t statistic. Okay, we define a t statistic, which is that t is equal to W1 minus 0 over the standard error of W1. So what have we done? We have converted this difference into what? Into how many standard errors the difference is. Do you agree? Do you understand or no? Do you understand this? What have we done here? So we have taken the difference between the two values, okay, whatever W1 we got, minus what my hypothesis value corresponding to my hypothesis was. What was the value corresponding to my hypothesis? It was 0. Okay, and I have divided this by the standard errors. Okay, what is this going to give me? Now this sort of becomes in units of standard error. Is that not, or is that correct or no? So if this value is equal to 1, what does that mean? That the difference between actual value of W1 and the hypothesis value is equal to 1 standard error. Is that all right? Dipankar, were you saying something?
Yes, I was saying that it will give the relative value in terms
Yeah,
of.
in terms of standard error, you can think of it that way. So
Yeah.
if you get 1, that means it is 1 standard error away from the hypothesis value. Okay, if you get 2, that means it is 2 standard errors away from the hypothesis value. If you get 20, you are 20 standard error values away from the hypothesis. Okay. What happened to Shivansh? Anybody knows? Is he all right?
So
Anybody
he's
talk to
not
him?
feeling well. He told me to inform you that. He's
Okay.
not well.
Yeah, I was. He's missing from the class. He did not submit the assignment, so I was just worried what happened. Anyway, that's fine. Anyway, ask him to focus on his getting better. I was also last full week. My voice was gone. Still, it is in 20% bad shape. But last Wednesday it was really bad. Anyway, the seasons are changing and maybe some viral infection is there. So now, again, my question, if you all know what, I'm going to erase these, we don't need this anymore. Good. So if you look at your normal distribution, how does it look like? Or not sigma, x, okay, and normal distribution in x. Okay, good beta. It looks something like this. Is it all right? Have you seen this, all of you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Similarly, our t distribution is pretty similar to this. So this is the t value, and the t distribution is pretty similar. Okay. Okay, and there are many ways you can. So here the units are practically, what do you have? You have sigma, then you have 2 sigma, then you have 3 sigma, and so on and so forth. Okay, and we have some calculations that there are some tables, sigma, 2 sigma, 3 sigma, and so on and so forth. Okay, so we can. So corresponding to this, we can find some probability. Okay, if you know that your x belongs to this distribution, what is the probability that x is greater than 3 sigma? Anybody knows that? Mod x, let us call this as mod x. What is the probability that mod x is greater than 3 sigma? Anybody knows? Or what is the probability that x is greater than 3 sigma? Mod x is greater than sigma. Anybody knows that for normal distribution? किसी को पता है 66% something like that? No, it's not 66, opposite of that. Probably
3.33.
33% or something like that. Medha, is that correct?
I think so. It's a 1/3 times something. So I'm not sure.
Okay. Anyway, so you have some. You can easily find out. There are tables, and you also have the equations. You can easily calculate this. Okay. Similarly, you can do a similar calculation over here. Okay, you can similarly do a calculation that probability your t that the value here t is greater than certain value t1. Okay, let us say you want to do that. Okay, so you can find that probability, and this particular probability is called as the p value. Okay, if you do any kind of manufacturing or anything like that in your life, okay, if you go and work for a company, you do an experiment. Okay, you do an experiment and you say that this experiment, you create a null hypothesis. What is the null hypothesis? Null hypothesis is that these two experiments are identical to each other. Okay, मैंने एक एक्सपेरिमेंट किया, मैंने उसमें कोई चेंज किया छोटा सा, और दूसरा एक्सपेरिमेंट किया. Okay, and I am saying my null hypothesis is that these two experiments are equivalent to each other. Okay, they are completely the same. How do I disprove that null hypothesis? If the probability that my two values are almost close to each other, okay, is very, very small, then what can we say? If the probability that the two values are very close to each other is very, very small, then what can we say? What can we say about a null hypothesis? क्या कह सकते हैं हम? So my null hypothesis, now please try to understand. I am doing two experiments, experiment 1 and experiment 2. Okay, both those two experiments are creating certain output. Okay, and I am saying my null hypothesis is that both the experiments are the same, and I compare the results. Okay, and the probability, obviously you cannot get the exact value, you have some probability, you'll get some probability. That probability is that the probability of those two experiments being very similar to each other is very, very small. Then what can you say about your null hypothesis?
It's wrong.
I couldn't hear. Huh?
So null hypothesis is wrong.
Null hypothesis is wrong because the probability of them being, the null hypothesis being valid is very, very small. Okay, so similarly you can using this now, again, how do you determine that these two are very close to each other or not? By using the t statistic. What are you doing here? You're converting the absolute values, the absolute difference between the found out value and the hypothesis value. The absolute value is being converted into units of standard deviation. Okay, not standard deviation, standard error. And that standard error obviously has some this particular value has some distribution. Okay, and then based on this, like we are saying probability of x greater than sigma is something like that. Similarly, you can do measurement, means you have tables for t distribution as well. You can find out the probability that this is true, and this is these probabilities are called as the p value. Okay, you will use this p value quite a lot. Okay, and so if your p is less than 0.01, or in some cases if it is less than 0.05, then we say that our null hypothesis is not valid. So this probability is this is the probability that your null hypothesis is valid. Okay, so since the probability is very, very small, we can be almost sure that the null hypothesis is not valid. Okay, anybody has a question? If not, then we'll stop and we'll continue on Wednesday. Okay, then we'll stop.